Guys, welcome back again. We are really excited to continue this conversation. Are you, Joy?
Yeah, I am definitely. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we enjoyed your interaction to the previous video. And from there, after we have evaluated ourselves in the singlehood space, and after, considering what we have to consider to get into a dating season, then here we are. We are in a relationship now with this partner. We're not sure whether they're the right partner. Yeah. So again, referring to my experience, guys, mtajua siri zangu mingi sana hapa, but still fine.
It's okay.
So referring to my experience of how I got into that space of dating, I really had a lot of expectations. A lot of Some of them are very positive because I know what I want, and others were very unrealistic. And it was bringing a lot of disappointment when I find out that, you know what, this guy is not gonna offer me this. And it got to a point where the only thing that I was looking for in this relationship, I was overlooking all the good things and focusing on what I feel like this guy should offer. And it's such a very bad place to be in, a very, very bad place to be in. So, Joy, can you tell us how do I maneuver the expectation area? Because expectations are very, very important. You cannot just fall in love blindly. You cannot be with a person blindly. So how do we manage our expectation to be so that they work for us, not against us?
All right. So I think one of the things that's so important, and also the reason why we actually are recording concerning dating, is really understanding your mentality, and how you think determines a lot on the kind of partner you end up having. So if you actually are seeing yourself according to how your family has been having guys, or maybe according to how you've seen, most of the times you'll end up with a person who you have perceived according to what you've been exposed to. And so when grace comes in, God gives you a Christ identity, gives you like mind of Christ, So when you're in a place where you have the mind of Christ, you are able to see what Christ deserves. What Christ deserves is what you deserve. And that's why it's so important. Now we're not just doing about dating. We have so many channels talking about dating. It's not necessarily new. The uniqueness of what we are doing is because we are evaluating how the mind of Christ is able to receive. So in a place, first of all, in that space, do you actually have the mind of Christ first? Are you seeing yourself as Christ?
Wow. And mentioning that, I want to say that again, the grace is the center of all these things. And when you have mentioned about not thinking about how Christ see me, or am I Christ like? It takes me back to what grace really is. Grace is removing me and putting Christ. So everything that you're doing, everything that you're considering in this space, think it as like Christ would do.
So for example, like Christ is a child of God, right? So imagine Christ in that space where he's ready to start dating. So what are the things that a son of God, a child of God would want? Before we even like start, I think in our previous video I removed that aspect of feeling like you can't expect good because Christ deserves good things.
Even sits in the right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I should dive, guys. Mtatuma sadaka. Siwezi ingia dipa kama msijaona fungu la kuku.
Like it's just amazing, just thinking when the time you actually start seeing yourself in Christ, that's the time things start aligning. Even when it comes in your dating and what you're choosing, you start becoming more confident of what you want. But when you're not confident in your identity as Christ, you will really struggle. You will not necessarily even know if you deserve good. Whoever comes. But when you have the mind of Christ, you are a child of God, the beloved. That's really what we are all about, seeing yourself as the beloved, because we go through so many things that define us, as failures, we're so different to the point that we can't see that we deserve good. So anyone coming every dig and hurry just becomes the person who you go with, and then uko mbele tu inakuramba, but that's really not the path of Christ.
Let me ask you, Joy, where do we draw the line of expectations and over expecting in terms of there is me, there's this young guy that I really love. Oh my man. The man was just chilling. Anyway, like there's this young lady or a young man.
Yeah.
And where do we draw the line of, what, this is a man coming, just as how do I put it? Jesus Christ, Holy Spirit. Help me. So this is what I'm saying, guys.
Yeah.
It is in my mind vizuri. But now kwa kuipanga ndio
it's okay. It's alright. How do you actually know that this is for me, Ama, this is not for me?
Yes, exactly. That is one part A, and part B, how not to judge them harshly.
Oh yeah, by giving them. Okay, first of all, as Christ, one of the things you are, if you're a lady or a guy, you are already prosperous.